It's Wednesday, April 29th, and this is now on HNN.
Cargo now sits where passengers once did. The airline industry that Hawaii depends on is in an economic tailspin, and some companies are taking bold new precautions to help ensure safety.
Our top priority on board that aircraft is your safety, but if you don't help us do that, we can't keep you safe.
President Trump welcomes news about an experimental drug to treat coronavirus patients. I'm Skyler Henry at the White House, where Dr. Anthony Fauci shared early results from a clinical trial.
The data shows that remdesivir has a clear-cut, significant positive effect.
New guidance is putting the pause on pet parks. I'm Tom Hansen. I'll explain why the CDC says social distancing might include dogs and cats as well.
I am worried, but we're taking every precautions.
Across the country, Costco is implementing new policies you'll want to know about. Coming up on This Is Now. Good afternoon. Thanks for watching This Is Now. I'm Jonathan, your director-producer, alongside Ashley here, who has the latest numbers from the Department of Health.
Health officials are reporting just 4 new COVID-19 cases today, bringing the statewide total to 613 cases. All of the new cases are on Oahu. Hawaii's death toll stands at 16, and so far 516 people have been released from isolation.
All right, we want to talk about the airline industry now. It's been really hard hit by the pandemic. Just in the past 6 weeks alone, 2,700 planes were grounded. That's a staggering 95% of the passenger volume. Wow. That's huge. NBC's Tom Costello gives us an update on what the industry is doing.
With empty parking lots, deserted terminals, and row after row of empty seats, the coronavirus pandemic is creating major turbulence for the air travel industry. As airlines deep clean their planes, the president says he's considering directing airlines to administer coronavirus tests to international travelers flying into the U.S. But with a shortage in rapid diagnostic testing, that's not yet possible.
That will likely become part of the screening protocol, but we're waiting for that technology to be much more secure.
United Airlines already requires crew members to wear masks. Starting Monday, JetBlue will have the same policy for passengers. American is now considering that as well. The airline emailing this video message to flyers overnight, detailing new cleaning measures with passengers and crew members wearing masks.
We are rolling out enhanced cleaning practices for aircraft and airports in the coming weeks.
But with rules varying among the airlines, flight attendants unions are calling on the FAA to issue an across-the-board mandate.
Our top priority on board that aircraft is your safety, but if you don't help us do that, we can't keep you safe.
For most, flying these days is a lonely experience.
This is eerie. Not one person really to be seen.
While the airline industry says the average flight is now carrying just 10 people, there are rare exceptions. Erin Strine found a packed plane on her trip from New York's JFK to Charlotte, North Carolina.
It was the first time that I felt truly unsafe, throughout this pandemic.
Some airlines, like Alaska, now taking steps to socially distance passengers by blocking off certain seats or rows. But with major companies like United and Delta losing upwards of $100 million each day, it's not a financially sustainable model. With fewer passengers, the world's airlines warn the longer this goes on, the more likely ticket prices may have to go up. As a part of the bailout talks with the government, the airlines had to agree to keep their employees on through September 30th. 10 airlines right now are receiving that government help. The widespread concern is that come October 1st, we could see massive layoffs in the airline industry, tens of thousands or 100,000 people affected. I'm Tom Costello at Reagan National Airport. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Tom. I wanted to stick on this story for just a little bit more and show you what Alaska Airlines is doing. Check this out, and I'll describe it to you. This is a passenger plane that they're using as cargo only now, and you can see in this video that this was the first time they're doing it here. They plan to roll out some more, but you can see personnel sort of just stashing in mail, medical equipment, e-commerce packages, food throughout the whole cabin there. They say that this is just part of a way they can hope to help boost business and capacity for shipping goods, because some of that capacity was lost in the airline industry.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Howard reported that this morning, and I thought it was really interesting. You can check that out on our digital platforms. All right, moving on now. We got some other stories to get to.
That's right. So even with all those canceled flights, nearly 4,000 visitors arrived in Hawaii since the mandatory quarantine went into effect over a month ago. And some people are still breaking the rules. In fact, earlier this week, law enforcement had to track down an out-of-state tourist with a criminal record who left his hotel. Lynn Kawano reports.
He didn't have accommodations and was being turned around, but there wasn't a flight leaving that day, so the man was put up in a nearby hotel, which he walked away from hours later.
John Ryan Adams, who has an assault conviction and pending DUI and resisting arrest cases in Texas, arrived in Honolulu Sunday. The 24-year-old was pulling his luggage when sheriff's deputies located him near the Wendy's on Pu'uloa Road. He wasn't arrested, but was taken to the airport to wait for his flight back to the mainland. Other quarantine violators have been cited, arrested, or turned around. New enhanced screening at the airport includes verifying phone numbers and accommodations, but lawmakers want better real-time tracking. The state's attorney general is still evaluating the legal issues raised by new technology.
Compliance is something we hope people do in return for coming to our state during this crisis period. The degree to which we need to increase the enforcement by imposing things like ankle bracelets or other types of modern devices is still a question that we're looking at.
The state has expressed an interest in opening a quarantine hotel for visitors, but that has not moved forward. I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
We have some new information on the timeline of upgrades at the State Unemployment Office. Now, Department of Labor Director Scott Murakami told lawmakers the following. By tomorrow or Friday, claim recertification is set to move to its own online portal, which should run 24 hours a day. That will let people recertify their claim every week or every other week. By the end of this week or early next week, a new website for self-employed, freelance, and gig workers is set to be up and running. On Monday, 90 more workers are scheduled to start answering phones from the convention center. By next week, Friday, another workstation will be set up for staff to take care of those tricky claim problems. We're told the state's new unemployment call center is now processing about 10,000 claims per day.
All right, we want to take you to hard-hit New York now, where officials there are taking steps to protect subway workers and bus workers. New provisions going in place there. We got Michael George, who filed this report.
Frontline workers at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York cheered on this 75-year-old, now recovered coronavirus patient.
Thanks for everybody that saved my life, and I'm going home today.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo reported another 330 people in his state died of the virus Tuesday and says reopening too soon could hurt hospitals that are finally seeing less patients.
You must have 30% of your hospital beds available. We can't go back to where we were, where we overwhelmed the hospital system.
The city plans to test about 1,000 transit workers for COVID antibodies and find a way to disinfect trains at night. Social distancing continues to pose a challenge in the hard-hit region, as evidenced by this massive funeral in Brooklyn for a rabbi who reportedly died from COVID-19.
City officials called the gathering absolutely unacceptable. Mayor de Blasio says he told police to issue summons or even arrest those who gather in large groups.
They're not even going to have a discussion. It's just we're going immediately to summons, and if we have to use arrest, we'll use arrest.
More states are looking to ease stay-at-home orders, including Texas, Florida, and Iowa.
I didn't just rip the Band-Aid off or flip the light switch. We're doing it in a reasonable, phased-in approach.
In New Jersey, the governor is reopening parks and golf courses this weekend. But Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards, who met with President Trump at the White House Wednesday, has decided to extend his state's stay-at-home order until May 15. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Across the country, Costco is implementing a new policy for all of its customers. Starting Monday, everyone must wear a mask to shop, with the exception of children under 2 and people with medical conditions. Workers will also need to wear face protection. Across Hawaii, people are already wearing masks due to the orders requiring that they wear them in essential businesses. Now, the Costco website says that most locations will return to regular operating hours starting Monday as well. We have asked about Hawaii stores and we'll let you know when we hear a response.
All right, President Trump is meeting with industry executives this afternoon at the White House as he continues to push to reopening the country. Skylar Henry is at the White House and has the story.
I'll tell you what, they're right there.
During a White House meeting with Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards, Dr. Anthony Fauci announced an NIH trial using the drug remdesivir is showing promise in hospitalized COVID-19 patients.
The data shows that remdesivir has a clear-cut, significant positive effect in diminishing the time to recovery. What it is proven is that a drug can block this virus.
Dr. Fauci says more drug trials can build on those results.
The administration's latest 30 days to slow the spread guidelines are set to expire this week, and the president hinted they won't be extended.
They'll be fading out.
The current guidelines, I think you can say, are very much incorporated in the guidance that we're giving states to open up America again.
Over on Capitol Hill, the House Speaker and Majority Whip discussed a new coronavirus oversight panel.
I'm proud to appoint distinguished and accomplished leaders to the committee who will assure that our coronavirus response puts working families first.
Democrats are also calling for more relief funding for the states.
It's about what they did in terms of what they spent on the coronavirus and what their revenue loss is.
But that's not the president's priority.
I don't know that we should be working with states that have been suffering through bad leadership or bad management for 25 years, and we're supposed to fix that.
President Trump spoke with food and agricultural industry representatives Wednesday morning after invoking the Defense Production Act to keep processing plants open as critical infrastructure. He says a report is coming on worker safety after several plants had closed due to coronavirus outbreaks. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Starbucks says it plans on reopening its stores next week, with 90% of company-owned stores in the U.S. up and running by June. At the moment, roughly half of the coffee giant's U.S. locations are temporarily closed. The phased reopening will start with shorter operating hours and modified operations. That includes drive-thrus modified for greater efficiency, as well as new entryway handoff systems. More curbside service is also being considered.
I know a lot of people have been waiting for that.
Lots of people are very happy about that.
Yeah. All right, so this has gotten some buzz on social media today. The CDC is now suggesting the same social distancing guidelines for you and I, along with pets. So pets and human, the same social distancing guidelines. So what does that mean for you and your furry friend? Tom Hansen has the story and filed this report.
Sit. Good boy.
If your four-legged friend is just like one of the family, health officials are now advising you treat them that way.
If anything happens to them, I will be devastated.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is recommending people follow the same social distancing guidelines with their pets as they do with other humans. They advise don't let pets interact with other people or animals outside the home. Keep cats indoors. Walk dogs on a leash and stay at least 6 feet from other people. And avoid dog parks or public places.
I am worried, but we're taking every precautions. We want him to stay healthy.
Many dog runs like this one in New York City are temporarily closed, which prevents some of the close interactions dogs and their owners might typically have with each other. So far, only a handful of domestic pets, like Winston, have tested positive for COVID-19. The North Carolina pug was part of a Duke University study after family members in the house came down with the virus.
His symptoms were really very mild. It was almost seemed like he was very gaggy, and there was one day he didn't really want to eat his breakfast.
Dr. Christine Klippen is an emergency veterinarian at Friendship Hospital for Animals in Washington, D.C. She says if someone in your household is positive for COVID-19, there are precautions you can take to protect your pet.
Limiting contact with them, refraining from kissing them or allowing them to lick you or lick your face, as well as avoiding sharing food. And then, of course, hand hygiene is the most important thing.
Dr. Klippen says if you're ill, ask a healthy family member in the house to care for your pet. Tom Hansen, CBS News, New York.
Winston, it's adorable. I'm glad he's doing good there.
So cute.
That tongue,
I know.
it's huge. It's like the size of his head.
This virus is so unusual.
Yeah. And then that guidelines there, it's like no licking your face, don't have your pets lick your face anymore. But how can you do that when you have Winston there with a tone like that?
I know.
He's a cutie pie. All right, we are still talking here. We're talking about longs, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
No.
I jumped ahead of you.
Actually, let's go to our new segment called
Yeah.
Checking In. And today we're going to hear from someone who works in an industry that many people were hoping would be classified as essential, and that is the hair and beauty industry.
Let's check it out.
Today we are checking in with Dana Okuma. She is a hair and makeup stylist at the Style Loft here in Honolulu. Hi, Dana.
Hi.
So before the salon shut down, were you finding a lot of people were canceling because they didn't want to be around people, or were they like, I got to get my appointment in now?
My clientele is just hardcore, but none of them canceled. Clients were already freaking out the week of that we had the state shut down. They're like, what's going to happen to my appointment? And what about my gray hair? And all of them, I called and texted everyone, said, oh, with this new, with the coronavirus going on, because they really didn't do the state shutdown or talk about it yet. I said, just a heads up, do you want to cancel or you want to reschedule till later? They're like, no, do not cancel me. Keep me on. If I got to come in sooner, I'll come in sooner. So for me, no one canceled. And even after the state shutdown, they're like, can I still get in? I was like, no, state shutdown. They're like, oh, okay, so you're really not working. I said, I'm really not working.
Some of your colleagues at the salon, what have they have? A lot of them had to file for unemployment. Like, what's going on with them?
Yeah, this is we're all independent contractors. So in our salon is a rental booth. So we all pay our rent and we all have our own little businesses inside. It's a struggle for our unemployment. There's some new rules for independent contractors this year. So we're not really used to it because we never had to file unemployment before. So this is all new to us. And usually I think commission workers are having an easier time in the hair business, but the rentals, the independent contractors are struggling trying to even get on.
Have clients been reaching out to you for, advice or tips on how to, make their color last longer? Have a lot of them been giving themselves haircuts?
A lot of FaceTime tutorials and a lot of text messages, and the guys are so vain. Wait, what am I gonna do? Are you really not working? I said, yeah, I'm really not working. We're on a state shutdown. So I think they're the ones that's more worried.
What are some, do's and don'ts that you're telling your clients?
Definitely not cutting your bangs, for sure. A lot of them are calling to ask how to cut their husband's or boyfriend's hair. The people that come in for highlights and their blonde highlights, they're just growing it out. Other than that, we try not to recommend anything over the counter because we don't know how they're mixing it or how the formula is. And sometimes it can be a color correction. And everybody's hair is different, fine to medium to thick hair. And it's never the same. Doesn't matter what color line you're using.
Do you feel like your industry or hair should be essential? Do you feel there's a safe way to do it at the salon?
So there's a lot of talk. I have a lot of friends in LA too that I think they're starting to open up May 15th. And so we've been talking, and they said that what they're going to be doing is some of them are doing the temperature checks before they even come in. The waiting areas aren't going to be as full. They're going to be asking people to either wait in your car, which I know it sounds really sad, but wait in your car until your actual appointment or until the actual stylist is ready. They're also saying taking surveys if you've traveled, if you've been around people that's been with temperatures of 99 or higher. That, and then sanitation is going to be to 1 million. On a daily basis, we use gloves for all coloring services and sanitation right after, before, and every client. So that's good already. But it's going to be a new normal. I think everyone's going to be super cautious, especially now. I think more than anything, clients and stylists as well, are going to be super prepared. And I think a lot of them are just dying to get fixed up, because I think not being able to do your gray and getting cut. I mean, guys are getting bushy. They're starting to look like chia pets, and they don't feel good about themselves. And there's some people that's still working, but they can't get a cut. And the women with their hair is growing out, they don't feel good. So it's hard.
So you mentioned hobbies. What are some of your new hobbies you've taken on?
I've been watching a lot of Chef's Table. I'm enjoying like cooking new stuff and been walking Diamond Head when I can to get some salt air.
Well, you look great. Are you doing your own color and cut at home?
No, but this is the first time I curled my hair since a month. It's usually in a bun.
Well, Dana, thank you so much for checking in with us today. You be safe and healthy.
Thank you. You too.
She's in great spirits there still,
Yeah.
considering everything she's going to. I can't imagine we're about to be entering a world where you have to get your temperature checked to get your hair cut.
I actually gave myself a trim the other day
You
in the
are-
front.
Gain some skills.
I had to. I was terrified, but I had to because my hair grows at different lengths. So the fronts were it was just different lengths, and it looked weird.
Well-
and we have to be on TV every day, so
And you did a great boyfriend cut too for Haku.
I tried.
No, he came back. He was a return customer, right?
It looked better than what he looked like before. So that was
well,
good.
way to go, bravo. All right, now to longs.
That's right. CVS says it's going to start rolling out self-swab tests at 1,000 locations across the U.S. by the end of May. Now, this morning, a spokesman told us they have not determined which locations would be involved, but they would prioritize sites with Minute Clinic locations. We're told there are 9 of those in our state. Now, remember, CVS does own longs, so we'll keep you posted if we find out those locations.
All right, the race to find solutions during this pandemic has led to a new age of innovation. I love this. That includes products meant to help you from keeping from doing things like touching your face or reminding you to wash your hands. Charles D'Agata takes a look at this new trend.
People touch their faces all the time. People touch their face 23 times per hour. You know, it's an unconscious behavior that just happens.
Stopping it from just happening is what Seattle-based designer Justin Ith had in mind with his vibrating bracelet, reducing the risk of the coronavirus entering the body through vulnerable points.
So you basically calibrate, this is when I touch my eye, this is when I touch my nose, this is when I touch my mouth. And so when you do that in the future, it'll then vibrate.
The global pandemic and the challenges of a post-lockdown world have already inspired a slew of ideas, like dividing screens in restaurants, plexiglass cubicles for the beach, and mobile barriers on car assembly lines.
In the world we now live in, every surface is a potential health hazard, especially door handles. One British inventor came up with this, and he's called it the hygiene hook. Pretty simple concept, really. Works like this. And like this.
Inventor Steve Brooks has already donated hundreds to hospital workers.
Are we seeing a new age of innovation now?
Yes.
World War II saw an explosion of inventions and innovations,
Hitler's last terror weapon,
like long-range guided missiles, which helped launch the era of space exploration.
And we have liftoff.
The jet engine, which revolutionized commercial aviation. But that period also introduced the modern ballpoint pen and superglue, everyday objects you'd find in your home today. And home is exactly where Justin Ith's idea started.
He created it because, for personal reasons, my father is in his late 60s and he has an autoimmune disease that makes him immunocompromised. We wanted to jump to action and protect people like my dad.
Sometimes complicated situations call for simple solutions. Charlie D'Agata, CBS News, London.
That is a very simple solution there, but could possibly save lives. Just the hook on the handle, and then you open the door with the hook. That makes total sense.
We need to work on our $1 million idea.
Well, I did invent Post-its, but no, just kidding. Romeo and Michelle reference, people. Sorry, I'm a dork. All right, time to get to the part of the show that I love. It's time for some good medicine, folks, where we focus on all the positive news from the day. And let's start with this. Mattel is launching these new action figures. Check them out. They're
awesome.
Yeah, they're representing everyday heroes. So we see folks like nurses and doctors there and other first responders. These action figures that also include EMTs go on sale through May, and they'll ship by December 31st. They cost about $20 each, which sounds maybe a little high for action figure, but $15 of each of those sales goes to nonprofits helping and supporting first responders.
Even better.
Yeah, I like that.
And here at home, Farrington High School is gearing up to help 1,000 families suffering under the state's economic shutdown. Jim Mendoza shows us how the school put together its Project Hope.
A room at Farrington High School now serves as a collection point for food, paper goods, and other products destined for families staggered by the state's economic crisis.
We understand and cognizant that a lot of people are out of work, and we want to make sure that we try to help them out as well.
Principal Al Carganilla says 60% of his school students come from low-income families. It's even higher at other public schools in his complex. They are hurting.
And I just thought, you know what, let's do something for the community, and never thought it would turn out like this.
No, I think this is good.
He posted a letter on his Facebook page asking for donations. They came pouring in. He calls the effort Project Hope.
The letters in Hope stand for Helping Our People Endure, and this effort involves all of the schools in the Farrington complex.
In just a few weeks, Farrington received more than $30,000 in monetary donations and hundreds of pounds of food and other goods from numerous organizations.
There's so many people that want to help, so many organizations, so many companies.
On Saturday afternoon at 1, the school will hold a drive-through distribution for people who need assistance.
We're going to enter through our auditorium gate, and we're going to have 5 tents for distribution, and we're going to go ahead and give out 1,000 care essential packages for families in need.
Carganilla says the packages will be handed out one per car, and you don't have to be a part of the Farrington family.
We welcome anybody who's in need.
He says the outpouring was so great, the school is also making plans for a follow-up drive. Jim Mendoza, Hawaii News Now.
Actor Tom Hanks is donating plasma in the fight against the coronavirus. The famous actor and his wife Rita Wilson contracted the virus while on a trip to Australia in March. Now that they were confirmed to carry antibodies, the couple donated their blood and plasma for research. The well-respected actor even joked about their donations, saying he would like it to be called a Hank scene.
We have an update on, speaking of plasma donation, our web team's working on an update. There was just a press conference maybe an hour ago. That's on our Facebook Live stream on right before our show if you want to check it out, how local blood bank is ramping up plasma donations.
That's promising. Yep. And Oprah Winfrey is preparing a virtual graduation speech for the class of 2020. She and others, including Miley Cyrus, Aquafina, and Lil Nas X, will participate in the May 15th virtual ceremony put on by Facebook and Instagram. More guests are going to be announced in the coming days.
Could you imagine if Oprah was your speaker?
I know.
So
How cool would that be?
I wonder
remember who yours was?
Oh man, I don't remember. I really, it wasn't anyone. I went to a small high school, so it was someone local. It had to have been. Mm-hmm. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us here at This Is Now. We have a press conference coming up with the governor coming up at 2:30. We're going to bring that to you on all our TV stations and our digital platforms. But I wanted to leave you with something today. The UH Band just put on a virtual concert. Check this out.